All right, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited for tonight. We are talking about 9 at night, every weekday night, and it is right on your internet, right in front of you on your phone, 9atnight.com. What we do is we have every weeknight podcast, Monday through Friday, and Monday night is our specialty. Every night is, but tonight is very, very special. And I'll tell you why. Tonight, it's all about those making a difference with the speech. Have you ever thought about thinking, I am going to go out and knock them dead because I'm going to say this great speech? And you're doing it in your dreams because you never would in real life. Well, this is the time you can come here and listen and learn. I can't wait to introduce my co-host, and he is just a dynamo, and he definitely knows what it's all about when it comes about talking about the speech. And that's Mr. Shawn Walker. Shawn Walker, welcome. There you are. You're muted, Mr. Shawn. Coach Shawn, and you have an incredible pink cap. Let's talk about that. I like that.
Yes, and thank you, Christine. This hat is a representation for the month of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I am donning the pink. I am donning the pink in representation of those who we have lost and those who are still fighting this battle. And I met a young lady, her name is Jocelyn, and Jocelyn is 27 years old, and she lives in South Florida, and she is fighting breast cancer, and she has stage 3 breast cancer, but boy, I tell you, she is a fighter. She's a dynamite. So in honor of her, I'm donning the pink hat all this month. So I'll be supporting her.
I love that. And that's what's so great about you. Now, that was a quick introduction. My co-host, Shawn. Well, let's get down to the real McCoy. You are Coach Shawn for a reason. You coach many people to finding their freedom with their voice when it comes to getting in that comfort zone that was most uncomfortable. You take their hand and lead them to their pathway of success. And I cannot say enough how much I admire you for that. Within the group we are together, that's a worldwide company, Toastmasters. This last week, I found so many people who never heard of Toastmasters. I'm going to let you give a snippet what Toastmasters is in 1 minute. And then we got some tips we're going to share about speaking.
Yes, Toastmasters is an organization where individuals come to become better speakers. That's what we start out to be. We just want to become better speakers. But we find out that we become so much more than better speakers. In fact, we find out that we become communicators. And that is the objective of Toastmasters, is for us to use our voice to communicate. And I didn't know all these skills that we learn in Toastmasters. We learned 361 skills in Toastmasters meeting. And each one of these skills applied to your life will just increase your life substantially. I've been a part of Toastmasters for 12 years. I tell you, the person you see that's in front of this camera right now isn't the person you saw 12 years ago. I was fearful of speaking in front of and big crowd. But what led me to Toastmasters was just to become a better speaker. I became a better speaker, and I'm just excited about my journey. And I would love to share more about my journey in the future.
And also, I wanted to everybody know, if you come on every Monday night, you're going to know what a Toastmasters is by the end of the hour. But you are also a distinguished Toastmaster. There's some work to go behind. That's like the master degree plus in the college circuit, doctorate, then another doctorate type thing. Let's talk about briefly Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters, such as yourself.
Yes, well, being a distinguished Toastmasters, it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of effort. like I was saying a minute ago, not only do you become a great communicator, but that journey transitions into positions of leadership, such as the district leadership, club level leadership, where we have to do an enormous amount of work. And by doing this work, we acquire the skills, and we acquire the skills necessary to take it to that level of being distinguished. And that is a prestigious honor when you can walk around, and Toastmasters is a worldwide organization, and you're recognized and highlighted as a distinguished Toastmaster. So it's an honor to have that up under my title.
Oh, definitely so. And a moment with Shawn. Look at this picture of you. You definitely are the coach. Now, we got some tips for everybody. So what we're going to do, this is going to be tip time, and that's where both of us share something to help better your speech. I'm going to turn it over to you first and tell us what we're going to learn tonight in what you have to offer.
Well, thank you for that, Christine. And thank you, everyone that's listening and paying attention. And what I will be talking about tonight is the gestures of the speech, because gestures is 60% of our overall speaking ability. That's right. 60% of our communication, nonverbal, is through our gestation. We learn that in person, using the gestures is different versus being online. Every week, we have this enormous opportunity to come here. Like right now, we're in this box. This is a framework. And within this framework, we use our gestures, like you sort of see me using my hands now. We use gestures also as a part of a smile. Did you know that? A smile is a gesture. It's warm, heartfelt, it's inviting. It makes individuals feel welcome. Or your eye contact. Looking at someone and speaking to them is so powerful. When you can look someone in the eye and convey a message or express how you feel about an idea, about a business plan, and you connect with their inner being. And that's what the eye contact represents. It's a connection with the human soul. And I love to see, in fact, Christine, I have a program where I teach young individuals exactly this. And you should see the reaction that I get. And it's not just the young folks, even with the adults that I coach. When they're able to look within someone's eyes and convey a message and get a response, and that response is exactly what they were looking for. And also do it with a smile, like I'm doing right now. But it all plays out in your gestures. So gestures is 60% of communication. I just want to let you know that. And I will be using some gestures tonight. So you may see my hands go up. You may observe me looking into the camera. And I also will be doing this for our guests as well, because when you are presenting, it's good to have someone to observe your gestation, your gestures.
You're absolutely correct about that. What I'm going to do, I love the fact about gestures, because sometimes we're holding our hands in our pockets and we're trying to get all this energy out, and we're stuck with our pockets. It just doesn't work.
Well, we call that the penguin stance, where you got your hands in your pockets like a penguin, and you're starting to wobble like that. That's the penguin stance.
There you go, the penguin stance. All right.
Also, everyone's favorite is the hand claps. It's like the fig leaf. It's like you're covering yourself. Those are gestures that individuals use, but we learned that by using those gestures, it shows that you're nervous or you're afraid. So people can read your body language just off of that without you even saying an uttered word. They look at your body posture. It's good to have a good stance, like right there, like I'm sitting right now. So you can look right into the camera and communicate, because communication is the #1 resource we have as human beings.
I love it. And 60% gestures is your speaking role. I love it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share a few tips with you. And I love gestures. So very important. Listen to Coach Shawn. He knows exactly what he's talking about. DTM, that means distinguished Toastmaster. Okay. That's how he can be a coach, because he's done it. He's paid the dues. I'm going to give you some quick steps, 7 steps for organizing your speech. What are you going to talk about? These are going to be brief because we have some incredible speakers that are going to share the floor tonight. I'm so excited to listen and learn from them, and you will be too once you meet them. But step 1, choose a topic and determine the purpose of your speech. Are you going to be entertaining, or do you want it to be serious? Do you want it to, and use something you're passionate about? There is nothing worse than having a speech and you don't like it, but you have to give it. I know that it can be done in an entertaining way that you can win and meet halfway in the middle, right? So people want to listen. If you're not interested in it, people won't be interested in you or what you say. Now there's the 3 E's in that choose your topic. Enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic about it. Eager. Be so eager to share it. And earn the right to be able to do that. Step 2, okay, brainstorm your topic. Start with a blank paper and list through the brainstorming anything and everything you know about your topic. List as many topics as possible. Just write them down. Write them on your break. Write them while you're just taking it, just going outside and looking around. Just sit down at that porch and just start writing some things. Let it be you. Don't edit or cut anything during this brainstorm step, okay? Step 3, group your items. Review your list and put related items into groups. You may form 5 or 6 groups. This will become the body of your speech. And then if your topic was tropical fish, you would just have groups relating to fish. It wouldn't be, I'm going to make corn for dinner or something. Step 4, refine and label your groups. Now we're kind of fine tuning this. Now you add, delete, and refine the items you're in your groups. And you may want to add a topic you didn't think of previously, or decide not to include an item. That's where you're sitting down. How long is this going to be? You need to maybe cut some material so you don't go over. That's taboo. Do not go over when people are expecting a 15-minute speech. Do not make it 30. Bad. They won't want to see you again. And label your groups. Just really put this in order. Like, you know how you get your dresser drawers, you got your socks in one place and your pens in another on the top, your wallet and your belts are all nicely rolled up. That's your speech. That's exactly how to do your speech. Then you decide how you're going to dress for the day. Pick this out, match this with this, match this with this, and you have a speech fully dressed. So determine after that, how are you going to close this? How do you want to finish? How do you want your audience to remember you? It may be a quote, something that's going to hit home and they'll remember the rest of the day. That is the ideal scenario. It could be, your speech could be all about this, but that one sentence is all they remember. I know I listen to audiobooks all the time. I love them. I can't get enough. But do I remember word for word? No, I don't. So this is how you want your speech to do that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put it into action. Rehearse. The last one is rehearse, practice. And one quick advice is join the local Toastmasters meeting. Isn't that right, Shawn? Isn't that the way to do this?
That's right. That's right. Yes, yes, that's the only way to do it.
Well, what we're going to do, we have some excellent speakers coming up. Are you ready? We have all Toastmasters invited. We are calling all speakers. If you have anybody or you yourself that wants to get on this podcast, you just reach out to Shawn or myself. Just go to 9ATNIGHT, email us at 9ATNIGHTshow@gmail.com. But we have some incredible guest speakers tonight. So this is it. Another last call to just get ready. Be a speaker. It's all about the speech. Our first speaker is going to be this wonderful gal that our good DTM, Shawn Walker, Coach Walker, is going to introduce. Are you ready, Shawn?
I am ready. Give me a second. She has been a professional hairstylist in Fort Lauderdale area for several years and is truly passionate about her craft. She took a bold step in her career by adding her talents and skills to the already impressive roster of ADU Salon in 2020. Currently, she is lead trainer for the All Dolled Up Salon apprenticeship program, as well as the Sunrise location coordinator management. She firmly believes in continuing education and strives to stay ahead of the industry with her knowledge of new products and services. She received her cosmetology certification through the Institute of Aveda South. She received additional training through Aveda Certification Salon for hair color and product training. In addition to hair coloring and cutting, she also has extensive background in makeup application and hair extension, tape ends, sew ends, lace wigs, installations, and several braiding techniques. She places high value on building relationships with her clients and has a knack for understanding how best to meet their needs. When you book an appointment with her, you will likely enjoy conversations about what she loves most: hair care and family. 9 at Night, please put your hands together for our guest tonight, Carolyn Janvier.
Thank you. What an introductory. Thank you so much, Mr. Walker.
Carolyn, we're so glad that you're here. What you're going to do is just start with your speech and what the title is, and we are here to enjoy. Thank you.
Things you do at the spur of the moment. Spur of the moment can be multiple things that you may do, and it might be getting a phone call from a coach and a friend that says that he needs you to take part in an event that he's doing that's very dear and important to him. What do? You look out for him in that spur of the moment, and you do as you know that you're supposed to do as a teammate. When someone calls on you to take part in an event or to take part in something that's dear to them, that's a part of their personal growth and your circle and your peace that you have with the people that you rub shoulders with on a day-to-day basis. So this might be one reason why you might do something at a spur of the moment. Spur of the moment can also be being spontaneous. Someone saying, let's jump off of a cliff together and do a podcast at 9 o'clock at night. So you do it. You say, hey, sure, I'll do it. I've never done one before, but sure, I'll do it. Spur of the moment can be something that's tragic as well. Spur of the moment can be simply driving home with the kids from an afternoon that you've taken, picking them up from school, and someone comes out in the middle of the road, or a car takes a lane that it shouldn't take a lane, and you have to be able to maneuver and take on what's coming your way, all at the spur of the moment. What will we do without having the spur of the moment? Will we not have moments that we're able to help out others? Will we not have exciting moments where we're able to join a podcast, or other moments where you learn that day to day it's not safe on the roads, or just knowing how to just be a little more mindful of our surroundings so that we can see through a spur of the moment without any hurt or harm to anyone. I really, truly appreciate this spur of the moment opportunity to be able to speak to you guys in this podcast tonight that I was asked to do, the spur of the moment. Shawn Walker, I give it back to you.
And thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for sharing with us about the spur of the moment.
I love it.
This is amazing. This is what we do. I gave her the call and she answered the call.
Well, and I want to interject. That was absolutely phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, at the last minute, what do you talk about? You talk about the spur of the moment. So perfect. Now, we should have timed it. We didn't make it hard on you. We like to have at least 5 to 7 minutes. But what we're going to do is I'm going to have you tell us how you met Mr. Coach Shawn Walker and with your Toastmaster journey.
Well, I want to say that I was invited by a mentor that I already have within the hair industry by the name of Patricia Brown. She's actually currently an owner of one of our partnered locations. We have a total of 4 active locations that we have now with the salon, and she's a partner. And I just really respect any direction or any recommendations that she would do or that she would recommend for me to do to better myself, because I really was pressed at the position that she had as being one, not from the United States, and then secondly, to be at her level as an African-American woman as well. She recommended I come on to her club that she had already been a part of faithfully, which is Club V.O.I.C.E. She believed that I was a leader and she could see that in me. And she wanted to make sure that I surrounded myself with those that can give me direction and also leadership as well. In interim, at that time, I met Shawn Walker. Shawn Walker at the time was our president of Club V.O.I.C.E. I was quite impressed to meet and see the whole entire team on Zoom, because Zoom was still something new for us. Just the different backgrounds and the different faces that I was able to see. It was such an opportunity to just be allowed in this room of all of the esteemed speakers that are already on the list, and that he was one as well. Shawn gravitated to me quite quickly. We were able to really take off on our mentorship. He definitely gave me quite a bit of direction. He would even also help me at times that it wasn't a part of the club time, multiple times throughout the week. And if you know Shawn, speaking to Shawn is always an intriguing moment that you will spend with Shawn. So with Shawn would never just stop at just being the level 1 type mentor. He went above and beyond by calling me on a regular basis, even making sure that I was okay, helping me go through things that maybe I was going through day to day, and showing me how I could reflect that back in my writing and my speaking, being able to create speeches through that, and to be able to bring that in, which made me a stronger speaker, that I was able to really feel personal about the speeches or the conversations that I was having publicly. And it was an honor, and I hope we can continue to learn and have another moment with Shawn. I thank you for that question. That was how I met Shawn and what he's done so far in my journey.
I love it. I love it. Well, Shawn, let's talk about your journey as a coach, how working and first meeting with Carolyn, how you were able to work with her, and what techniques do you use?
Well, in meeting Carolyn, like she said, when she first came to the club, she had that smile that she has on her face, like right now. And it was that smile. And I could always tell when individuals come into the club and they're trying to find their path. And that's interesting, because just as they're trying to find that path, we have something in Toastmasters that's called pathways. And explaining how pathways works, it's a little confusing, a little tricky, but it takes patience to be able to find that need. And once I sat down and I had a conversation with Carolyn on numerous occasions, I finally discovered her need. And her need was to be a great communicator. And more so than that, Carolyn has this amazing ability to be a great leader. Don't let her looks fool you. She's an amazing leader. She's doing some incredible things. I see it all the time. But some of the tips is, tip one would be just being consistent. I think being patient and consistent and constantly seeking out that need. Like I said, and once we found that need, we poured the foundation, and every time we have a conversation, we lay another brick.
And why I'm doing this is just to let anybody that's out there, you could have any job, no job, and you can definitely start learning to speak. As you know, body language, 60%. How do you, when you want to go get a job interview, this is crucial. The way you walk with confidence, or are you kind of like hoping no one sees you go in and throw them the resume and leave because you don't know what to say? Big deal, right?
And another thing, Christine, when Carolyn first came in, she came in through Zoom. It was not like an in-person meeting where you could lead her and show her certain things. This was in Zoom. So the energy and the connection that we had right away was incredible. But I was able to speak with her via phone, via Zoom, and I was able to coach her right here on Zoom. So this is very transparent, this skill that I've learned and this coaching ability that I do. So I don't have to be in person with you to connect with you.
So it's worldwide, it's global, wherever internet reaches. Carolyn, do you see the benefits of learning how to speak, and does it help with your confidence? Let's talk about the difference.
I can definitely say there's been a difference. I've been in Toastmasters for about almost a year, and under Shawn's tutelage for probably about 7-8 months is when he kind of picked it up. So I do see a difference in the one, I can say, being called on the spare of the moment, and being able to minimize the ums, uhs. It does change your confidence level in speaking in front of others, as well as within the organization that I work for. A lot of times I will get called on at the spare of the moment because they do want to, they may want to call on someone to explain something. It could be something as simple as, maybe a membership program that we have, or how to complete a sales ticket. And because they know that I am a part of the Toastmasters Club Voice, they're more confident, as well as my employer, to call on me, knowing that I will be able to speak with less of the ums and ahs, and that I will be able to give a clear message across to the team that they will be able to understand and comprehend. So I definitely can say Toastmasters has given me that opportunity in collecting the things that I say and rewording them, and thinking about the time frame that I'm using, and how I want to compact information within 5 to 7 minutes and keeping it shorter.
That is excellent. What is your long range goal with Toastmasters? Do you plan to have your own company? Do you plan to tour and speak at different places?
My long term is just
your coach is saying yes to all that, but forget what you think, right?
I mean, on a personal level, yes, I would want down the line that that I am able to take this to a higher leadership mode within my organization that I currently work with now, as well as, maybe other endeavors that may come along the way as well. However, first and foremost, I really just want to have fun with it. I really just want to enjoy the people that I speak with each week, that we see each other, and I want to just be a sponge and absorb as much as I possibly can. I really do enjoy the weekly meetings and hearing the different stories, where we get an opportunity to get a little window into our teammates' lives, and just to be able to see that those are learning opportunities as well. A lot of times I can't say each week I'm able to take back something that I can take back to my day-to-day life of an experience that one of my teammates was able to let us know in one of their speeches that they may have given to us.
And I just want to interject right there. And one of the things that she is showing this evening is leadership. When you are called upon, opportunities only come once in a lifetime. For some of us, it comes more than once in a lifetime. But when you have that opportunity and you are prepared, Carolyn just exuded a great example of that. When you're called upon, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity. This is what I've learned, than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
I love it. So Shawn, should anybody want to reach out and say, I need Coach Shawn in my life, how do they go about that?
Well, you can reach me via telephone at 954-818-2299. I'm also on Instagram at A Moment with Shawn.
All right, I'm going to have to get a advertising slide up here so that we can get that done. I want a big hand to you, Carolyn. You are absolutely fabulous. Thank you. And thank you, Coach Shawn. You have such wonderful people. We're going to go on to our next speaker. I'm so excited to introduce our next speaker. And I'll tell you, it's all about making a difference. We just met with Carolyn, and now we're going to go on with Dr. Andy Byrne. There is so much when it comes to making a positive difference, and he definitely does that. Andrew joined Toastmasters in 2012 and earned Distinguished Toastmasters. We talked about that recently in 2016 and 2020. He's currently completing his third DTM. Now, Toastmasters, that's like another doctorate degree, okay? So he's on his third. He's been a lecturer, author, and coach. He's currently a member of 5 clubs, a founding charter member of Online Presenters, started in 2017. The club remains the largest virtual club. He has served as a president, distinguished club president, and other club leadership roles include a lot of other roles, okay? And the list goes on with his leadership growth. What's incredible is that he is a genuine friend to everybody. He will go out of his way to help anyone when it comes to technology, to how do you do Toastmasters? What about the pathways? As well as his other job. I mean, I don't know if he does more with his medical or with Toastmasters, but he's dedicated, okay? He's been practicing emergency as emergency physician for the last 40 years. And he married his wife, Judith, with 2 grown children, Michael and Suzanne. And they're both married with children. And I'll tell you, he enjoys technology, photography, music, travel, and of course, family. So right now, I'm so pleased to welcome to our stage, Dr. Byrne.
Thank you very much, Christine.
I am going to make you a quick co-host so that we can get your video up, and you should be able to present your video now. My most apologies. And you have a screen up there that says you'll be right back.
That should let me through right now. Okay.
There you are. Welcome, welcome. I hope I did a sufficient getting all the titles that you well deserved. We're so happy to have you in our presence here at 9 at Night podcast.
Well, thank you very much. And you did a great job in the introduction. You kept it short, otherwise we'd be here the whole night just doing the introduction.
That's
so thank
all
you
right.
very much.
Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to first, our method here, our normal is we're going to first let you do a speech, 5 to 7 minutes. And if you want, I can keep time or you can keep time. That's the Toastmaster way, but can't wait to learn from you. I'm going to let you give the title and I'll let you put on your show. Thank you.
I'm just going to pick up before I begin something that Shawn said, how Toastmasters helps to prepare you for taking on things at a moment's notice. Christine, when did you ask me to do this?
We're not going to talk about that. I didn't say anything about that. Just because our former guest said it was last minute, that doesn't mean it was just like 3 minutes before show started. But you know what? You said yes. You said yes.
Yeah, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. So what I just had done was a speech at another club, Online Presenters. It's one of my virtual clubs that Christine is now a member of, I'm a member of. And we have people from around the globe. Toastmasters, as many people may or may not know, is in 159 countries. And they're active, if you look at them, goes through the same format. When people say, what does that mean? He said, have you ever been in a McDonald's? Have you ever been in a McDonald's in another country? You can't tell where you are because the structure, the menu, everything is the same. And the same thing is true with Toastmasters. There's an overall format and a way that things are done that's consistent across the globe. And this club that I spoke to last night has people in Australia. We've had Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore. We've had people in India, Marrakesh. We have people in England, people throughout the United States. In all, it's an international, diverse, culturally, experience-wise, advanced club that you would get a lot out of if you come by. And our main focus is online presenting. This club is now 5 years old. We began with online presenters using Zoom when it first came out. I only wish I knew how valuable that would be in the future, because I would have bought more stock in it. And it went up a significant amount. But be that as it may, I was asked to do some stuff. I don't have my slides prepared, but I do want to raise the question. When one does a presentation, you want to convey a message. And we've talked about the 738-55 rule, which goes back several decades in terms of psychological studies and how they felt your message is delivered. And that 738-55 refers to your words, the way your words are delivered, and then the gestures that you use. Now think of this. Recently, less than a year ago, my daughter had a baby, August. Now, when you've come across a baby in your own family or your own or friends of yours, how do you communicate with that baby? We know that babies pretty much at the beginning, all they do is cry, eat, and poop. That's all they do. But how do you interact with them? You interact with your smile, you interact with eye contact, with how you touch them, kinesthetic responses. You interact with them through your voice, loud, not too loud, because then they'll start crying, but loud. Let them know that you're around, moving your hands, movement of your body, but most importantly, to let them know through your face that you're happy to be there with them. Now, as you get older, you've forgotten maybe some of those things. You've forgotten the fact that if you're interacting with a baby, you want that baby to like you. You want that baby to pay attention to you. You want that baby to be able to interact with you. What do you do to do those things? Think about it. What do you do? Now, I know Christine is an expert. She has 8 kids and in a blended family, so she didn't have them all her biologically. But the point is that the same thing is true. And she's a farm, and she can tell you from farm animals. Farm animals respond the same way. Dogs respond the same way. If you want the dog to like you, don't growl at it. It'll growl back at you. Smile, be soft, pet it. Do those kinds of things that ingratiate yourself to the animal. And the same thing is true when you're doing a speech. What do you do to engage your audience? What do you do to know about your audience before you even begin? That's important. It's important to know who you're speaking to, what message you want to deliver, how they're going to receive that message. What do you want them to do with it? Do you want them to think about your message 2 minutes after they leave? Most people will walk away from a speech and not remember one thing about the speech. If you want them to remember your speech, have a punchline, have what it is that you want them to take away, what it is that you want them to think about. The speech I gave just half hour ago was about choices, and choices when you do presentations, because everyone has a way of doing that. Think back to your last movie or television. How does your reaction, your interaction, your feeling about that movie react with you if you turn the sound off? You only saw a picture. How would it be if you didn't see the movement on the set? How would it be if you didn't know the context of the commentary and the story that you have to talk about? So all those things are important in terms of building up the story. We read in a book and the words are before us, and we do word pictures and can understand something about it, sorry, and we do it in our mind. But when we do it with pictures, with sound, with music, that adds different elements to the story that allows you to walk away and say, I got it. I got the message. I understand what they're trying to say. I felt in my heart. For those that saw the movie Coda from Apple about the deaf family and the one family member that was not deaf, I walked away from that movie and I have to admit, I cried because it was that emotionally impactful for me. And I looked around and say, the whole goal in Toastmasters is for everyone in the program to reach out and help other people experience the joy of communication, the joy of helping other people reach out and be able to touch others, to pay it forward, so to speak, as the movie talked about. So these are some of the things that we learned in Toastmasters. As Shawn said, over 350 different elements that we learn about in the program. And it's important for so many people that we don't go out and ask to be members. The deaf community, we don't approach them. Other people with disability. I can't remember how many times I have seen from the stage people that are presenting that said, I started off with a speech impediment. Our president of the United States, Joe Biden, starts off many of his speeches and said, by the way, I started out being bullied and I started out having a speech impediment. And as the years went on, I got better at it and was able to deal with that. You have the ability to help people in areas where they feel most vulnerable. Surveys have said that people find public speaking a very scary thing. Public speaking, a challenge that they don't want to even approach. When you think of it that way, and think of the joke that Jerry Seinfeld had said, that given the choice between being in a coffin or delivering the eulogy, most people chose being in the coffin. And that is an important point. People are scared about public speaking. When Christine came and said, could you speak tonight? I said, yes. I didn't think about it. It didn't make me throw up or pass out or anything else. And that's because I'm in Toastmasters. I'm speaking all the time to individuals. When I go to networking meetings, I'm speaking all the time with individuals. The important point and message for each of you to talk about or think about tonight, when I leave with my message, is what would your life be? How would it be different if you could speak to anybody about anything and get your point across, particularly during this time of political activity and voting? Would you like to be able to get your views across, persuade others? That's what Toastmasters is. Thank you, Christine.
Bravo. Excellent. We sure do appreciate you. And we're going to all come on and have a good chat. You know, Andy, that was absolutely fabulous in the fact you were direct, you gave encouragement for anybody out there. What about you, Shawn? What's your take on this?
Andy did a phenomenal job. Andy talked about some key points about content, and Andy talked about leaving something for individual. But the main thing he talked about that I really enjoyed that he talked about is the fear of communication. People don't realize that once you're able to communicate and get an understanding, there are skills. There's three things that happens: the communication, the fact of listening, and actually doing. And that's how we develop self-confidence and being able to do what we do as communicators. That is a three-part situation that happens in communication. It's very effective when done effective. And it gives you the confidence. It doesn't make you afraid to go talk to anyone, because a lot of issues that arise in individuals' lives is their failure to communicate effectively.
That is it. And also, was it John Maxwell that said, do it afraid?
Do it afraid or don't do it at all.
What I'm really happy about, Andy, is I knew, because I did have one and they fell through, but I knew deep in my heart that you would say yes. And that's a really good feeling. It was tight because you were in another meeting. We were both in the same meeting. But at the very end, I just thought, I don't know if it was because I put a smile kind of word after it. But Carolyn, let's bring you on, Carolyn. And I just think we should end with some good chat about this, because you had more notice than Andy did, I bet. So how long ago before tonight did you know you were going to be speaking?
Tell you in a second. Not very much time. Not very much time. But again, it was for a moment with Shawn. How could I say no?
Excellent. Excellent.
And that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. Being uncomfortable. And the more you're thrown in situations and you become uncomfortable, you develop that skill of confidence. And when you have that confidence, you can go anywhere and you know that you are prepared.
Now, I think what's also, we'll have you both back, but Andy knows all this technology. I think one of your speeches should be showing how you do some demonstrations with presenting on Zoom. You have so many doodads. I got to take another course again from you because I got confused after I got done talking with you. I thought, now what do you say? So we need to do that. This is so helpful. Now, Andy, what's your version, your take on 9 at Night? Isn't it? There we go. See, I told you.
See, there it is.
That should be a word of the day. Doodad.
Do that.
But Andy, don't you think that 9 at Night is excellent for Toastmasters to get uncomfortable?
Absolutely. And you do such a great job. It reminds me of my days back in college when I had my own radio show early in the morning. So brings back great memories.
So did you have a spiel that you said because you were cool as a college radio guy? Did you have like tell us it if you remember?
It was Wake Up in the Morning with Andy Byrne. So that's what it was. I had an early morning show, and I think I got it because nobody else wanted to wake up early in the morning in college. And so that's why I got the spot. It was an interesting time in my life. One of the interesting things is I wound up living in our dorm in a music dorm. And what I mean by that is most of the people on the floor were working at the radio station in bands or something along those lines. And the one thing that was happening back then, if you can think back to the 1968 to 72 time period, is music was distributed on records. This was even before CDs. And what would happen on every Friday, all the music houses would send the radio station that was owned by the students on the university a set of newly distributed albums and music. And what we did was we took all of those records, hopefully I won't get in trouble 30 years later, but 40 years later, we took those music sources, we brought it back to the dorm, we lined up all our tape decks in a series, and everybody taped all the brand new albums as they were coming out. So I probably left college with like 400 albums that I had during that time period. But, you know, things changed. We went from records and vinyl to 8-track tapes to cassettes to CDs to just digital now. So if you speak to somebody that's younger, they won't remember any of those things. In fact, this year is an interesting year because of what reason? If you look at the generations, I just wrote down for the other day. Give me 1 second here. Yeah.
So I guess we got to add DJ to Andy's name now.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, have you ever heard Les Brown's? Did you hear his story? How he got his DJ? Oh man, he had a sure good nighter. I think we all need to write our DJ thing and have fun just whipping it out.
Okay, so baby boomers or those born 1946 through 1964. Okay. This 2011 was the year that those people turned 65. And so you now have a large population that are 65 that started off as baby boomers in 2011. And the reason that's important, you have a large population over 65 for Toastmasters. A lot of people talk about starting off with the young kids and the youth. We need to be thinking about those in the baby boomers that are now 65 and older, because some of them don't know how to use these technologies. Some of them are alone, and being able to be interactive socially with Toastmasters could be helpful for them. So there's a lot of things to think about when you're looking at membership possibilities.
That is absolutely excellent. Excellent stats, and it is so real. And that is not as so that I was intentionally meant to say that, okay? With that,
I want to just interject something real quick, Christine, before we sign off. But I want to talk to Carolyn about the amazing event that they did just recently. They rented out the whole Performing Arts Center. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That was actually our 37th year anniversary for the organization. We were also recognizing the founder, which is the CEO's mother, which she had one shampoo bowl, one hooded dryer, and she just continued to bring on that platform that she allows us to have an opportunity to grow on year after year, where now she's evolved into having five different locations now. So that event was an opportunity to bring everyone together to celebrate that and honor her. It was gathered with the current apprentices that we had for that year. They gave a hair show. We also had Mr. Rucker from Greenleaf also speak at the event as well. There was a violinist, there was a harp play, there was red carpet. It was an amazing event. Just to know that an organization at our level was able to create and gather that and make that such a memorable moment. And I'm sure she'll never, ever forget that evening where she was honored, as well as the salon also being honored at its level and its stature in the community as well.
Excellent. Oh, how much fun. What a great honor to definitely give credit where credit's due. We're at the end of our hour at 9 at Night. We're going to be asking you back. We'll give you a little more time this time. Maybe, I think it's good right before. So maybe an hour before the show. No, we'll do a little better than that. Maybe.
Hey, Christine, before we go, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
What's an 8-track and what's a cassette?
Is that serious? Look at you. You know what? My children's father was a lot older than I. He was actually up in New York. He's passed away a long time ago, but he was in New York. He was one of the first original song pluggers before they became promotion men. And he promoted every Ray Charles' first album, Georgia on My Mind. He's the one that helped that go #1. He had James Brown with King Records. He worked for King Records. They bought a country label down in Nashville. That's what brought a New Yorker down to Nashville, where I met him. And the rest is history. He was ZZ Top, Elvis. I met DJ Fontana, Elvis's drummer. Just had a wonderful time. And he definitely, but Song Plugger is what their first original were called Song Plugger. And what they figured, they're up there, their apartment's above this huge, massive crowd at some parade. Why don't you get the phonograph up there and just play it out the window? And it worked.
Sounds like a block party.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We got to say goodnight. I just want to say thank you so much. It's been an incredible time. We absolutely love our 9 at Night and our many guests that we have here. Are you ready? Be a speaker. Approach us. Go to 9atnight.com. Go to contact page and tell us you want to be on. It's your turn. And it is all about the speech. With that, have an incredible evening thinking about what you're going to write in your next speech or your first one. And we'll see you back at 9 at Night.